Boo! Wait, hold on. My hair's not right. Okay, I'm ready! 你好吗? 我的名字是程宇耀, and today I'm going to be talking about Turning Red. Also, I'm apologizing for my accent right now because guess what? I grew up in the South, so I'm sorry. I never went to Chinese school, so don't get on me for that. I don't need to be reminded like I've been reminded by my 1,000 aunties. That's my generational trauma. Anyways, hi friends, my name is Furry Friend. Don't even try to have thoughts about that. And today we're going to be talking about Turning Red, the new Disney movie that came out recently. You all want my thoughts about it because apparently I am a reviewer of movies and shows now. By the way, subscribe because I put all this effort into this look, okay? This is my mom's. I wanted to do something more traditional just because I don't really do that on my channel, and I think that this should be normalized because I want to go out on the streets of New York City every damn day. I try to do my makeup similar to how they do it in Chinese soap operas that I've watched too many of. And by the way, my hair, I need to explain it. So I'm of the age in my family, the Chen family, where once you start to become an adult, the men unleash this other being known as the dragon. I'm kidding, I'm in the middle of dyeing my hair, so I need to let it relax a little bit. So this is what it looks like bleached. It's not a bad look, but it's not the final product, so just ignore it, okay? This is temporary. And if you like it, too bad. I hate blonde hair on me. Yellow and yellow does not make, okay? That's a rule for me. So if you don't know what this movie is about, it's a coming-of-age Disney movie where May, the main character, realizes that there's something in her family that makes her different. She's unique. She's not like other girls because she can turn into a red panda if her emotions are too emotional, like some of y'all. And the movie is just about trying to accept this identity, how to overcome it, and how to gain acceptance from your family and also your friends. It's very normal, I guess, for Asian people to go through. We'll get into it. Obviously spoilers, so la, or just click off and watch it and then come back. I just want to talk about some points that I think were really interesting. First up, Devin looks just like me at some point in my life. But the opening scene is basically a traditional Chinese temple, and it's where people go to worship, and in this case they worship Sun Yi, who is the person who started the whole red panda genetic line. And it's based in Toronto, Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And I just want to know, like, does this actually exist? Like, I want to live there. I would like to be next to that because apparently May's home is I think it's inside the walls as well. So I want to wake up and go to a temple, like, as my job. The narrator is May. It's like giving very, hi, my name's Frederic, and my life is kind of funky. Very 2000s. I mean, it's set in 2002. They have flip phones. So I'm just happy that Disney is harking on like older movies. I don't like saying old. It doesn't make sense to me. But nostalgic. Like, obviously 2000s is returning. You know, the aesthetic is returning. Y2K, whatever y'all want to say on TikTok. And Disney knows that, so I think it's smart. And also, the director, who is a first-time director, I heard, which is very impressive. And I'm very proud of her for making this. Also because this is based on her life. Her generation understands it. My generation, I guess my age, understands it because I grew up in middle school during the 2000s. So it's very relatable in that sense. And I think this is just targeted towards middle schoolers or just anyone who can relate to this. So as much as I hate cringy intros like that, just in general, like anywhere online, even on YouTube, I appreciate that they're sticking to that aesthetic because of course you want tween cringe. Like, bring back the tween demographic. Y'all don't have awkward faces anymore and it's creepy. I also think this is because of the director, but there's so much detail and attention to it in this film. It's so accurate to a typical Chinese family. And also I want to point out they're Cantonese, so that's already different. Like, there's not enough of that representation, and Cantonese as a whole, like as a language and culture, not as appreciated. You don't really learn about Cantonese ever, so I'm glad that it's there, and there should be more of it as well. I do wish there was more Cantonese speaking in general. I get it, it's Disney, they probably don't want to do that. Just something I wish I had. It would have been nice to see it. But everything is so spot on, like the design of the temples itself, the way you worship and you bend on your knees and you put these little incense sticks in between your hands, and just, yeah, it's accurate. It is 100% authentic. The sexy food scene, I think Disney always incorporates that somehow, but like just making the Chinese food, it was just like like it made me salivate. It was very ratatouille. May's room has that Chinese hanging decoration right in the corner, and most people probably didn't notice it, but like I have that in my room, and it's It's so nice to see that just like casually being there, having all these elements just throughout the whole movie. You will notice if you think about it and just look to the side. So it shows that the director cared about making sure that everything was there. And the mom bringing in orange slices on a plate. Mwah, mwah. Even the hair clips on May. I can probably find a picture of my sister who looked exactly like her at 13 years old. Like literally spot on. Are you kidding me? This is May if she was in live action. We all had it, okay? The girls who get it, get it. And if you don't, well, it's not for you. So May first comes off as like an annoying teenager. I mean, I'm not gonna front my words. We're all annoying at some point, so like it's completely fine. But she comes off as very smart, straight A student, loving family, has friends, I'd say it's your typical student who wants to do well in life and wants to please your parents. And it's also refreshing to see like a confident character who just is unapologetically themselves. And I saw some reviews talking about how they didn't like the character design. What would you like them to look like then? Do you just not like diversity in a friend group? It's never forced. They never bring up skin color. And there's so many different variations of Asian people as well. Skip ahead when you see the aunties arrive, like all of their figures are different. Their faces are animated differently. We're so used to like one simple way of designing an Asian character, East Asian character, mind you. I do this like they're a pentagon, but no. Like in anime, they all look the same usually, which is something that is a different genre, but also like should be addressed. And maybe Disney's 3D characters are like not everyone's favorite because it's not attractive, I guess, or it's not like beautiful face instantly, Elsa goddess, whatever, maybe you want your big titty goddess, but they're kids, they're going through puberty, like they're not supposed to look gorgeous girls. They look like how middle schoolers typically look, which is developing. Also, that emo kid was also me. So at this point, we don't really know what the problem is, and I didn't really know like what to think of May yet, but at the end of this scene, she starts doodling in her notebook because the four of them, the best friends, they have this crush on some band that I already forgot the name of. I think it's called 4Team. I literally don't care, okay? Because it's not Big Time Rush. But basically, there's a famous boy group in this movie and they're named for something, even though there's 5 members, so it literally makes no sense. And they all have crushes on them. So she starts doodling in her notebook and the doodles are a little bit intimate, a little bit, you could say, daring. A little bit Leslie from Amazing World of Gumball.
Who should I ship today?
Also normal, like I think we all did that, and if you didn't, congratulations, you don't die from embarrassment today. Some of us grew up with fanfics, okay? But her mom, Ming, who is voiced by Sandra Oh, which, oh my god, when I found that out, instant fangirling. But she finds her notebook from under her bed, and she looks in it, so she's disgusted instantly. But the mom sees that one of the doodles is of this guy from a grocery store, who I guess May now has a crush on. It's a weird scene, like, because they reference it in the beginning. All 4 of them are looking at this guy in the grocery store who looks like me, but it's dropped after this scene. So I think that's kind of weird how they just like brought that up for no reason really. But I guess they needed it for what happens after, because Ming drives May to the grocery store and she confronts the dude and says, "Don't you ever go in front of my girl. You stay away from her. She is a good daughter." Full on, I hope your family rots in hell, you hag. So yeah, it's very embarrassing because there's also a lot of students in there as well, which I don't know why there's like 13-year-olds casually going around a grocery store at night. Y'all should be home, where are your curfews? But of course they laugh at May, and Ming is so in her head, like she doesn't even see that she's embarrassing her, which is the first thing that you notice. So it's like, oh, this is gonna be the plot point. Your mom is embarrassing you to death. And once again, people criticize this because they said, I don't think that's realistic. What is realistic about this? Red pandas turning into them? And secondly, this does happen. If you don't understand it or you can't relate, you never had a friend, or you don't even have parents who micromanage you to the point of literally embarrassing you in public, in front of people. And I don't know if this is like a thing that Asian parents just do, but at least for me, yes, I'm calling on my parents out, love them to death, but they did embarrass me in middle school because they're unaware of the surroundings. I think they're just unaware in general because they don't look when crossing the street. But I think Asian parents who immigrated somewhere else, because we're in Canada, they care about their family first. Anything else is irrelevant, okay? So they don't care how embarrassing it is. Y'all hear about Asian grandmas just doing this in the park, doing yoga. They have zero shame. So why should they care? They don't think that it's gonna embarrass you. But of course, you're a middle schooler. Of course you're gonna be embarrassed because that's your friends at school. Those are the peers you have. They're gonna bully you probably and make fun of you the next day, which they do. Because this dude named Tyler, who is basically the jerk in this movie, starts putting up the posters of the drawings everywhere. And like, it happens, y'all. Like, this literally happens. And even if it doesn't happen to you, you can feel how embarrassing it is through May. The feeling is more important than the actual action. I don't care if you think it's not realistic, because that's literally happened to people. And you should be lucky you didn't grow up having to deal with that. But after the incident in the grocery store, this is where we see May turn into a red panda. And it's obvious to like everyone else probably besides kids, because they don't know this word yet, but it's about puberty, it's about growing up. I'm not gonna doubt that kids won't understand like this is about growing up, but I think as adults, once you've been through puberty, you understand it. Like, you have to go through middle school to reflect on it first. So if you're a middle schooler watching this, I'm not hating you, I'm not doubting your knowledge, but I'm just saying you have to live through school to talk about it after. Because I, for one, did not appreciate my parents as much growing up, because I was only thinking about being embarrassed by them, which is what May starts to think. Turns out you can take away this red panda if you just calm your emotions down. So, you know, if you're not an angsty teen, you're good. But the next day, combined with Tyler's posters and Ming following her to school because she thinks May's on her period. She hasn't found out she's actually a red panda yet because she didn't tell her mom. Ming is outside the window with pads, and she shows the pads to the students. So I don't know if y'all think this is unrealistic, but I actually witnessed this in high school through someone else, maybe middle school. Either way, I've seen this, and it shouldn't be embarrassing. We should normalize periods, okay? For the boys out there, like, shut up. We'll start talking about your small dicks, okay? Which, nothing against small dicks, but you know, boys are insecure of them. But it's nice to see that, because I don't think kids movies, not to call Disney a kids thing, but like, obviously for younger people, usually teenagers and below, it's nice to see them actually show that and like talk about how it's a normal thing. Coming of age movies are usually about like, you know, finding love and relationships and heartbreak and I'm lonely. But this is different just because there is no kiss at the end, thank God. And it's more about being comfortable with your identity and womanhood. Well, we'll get to the meaning later. I also want to say I don't usually see Disney movies as like something that can be live action. I think I associate Disney with Pixar too much when it's in 3D, but like this could easily be a live action. Not saying that it should be. Don't think about it, Disney. It's a little more realistic, I'd say, compared to other Disney movies. So after Ming shows the pads, May turns into a red panda, and none of the students see. Only Ming sees somehow. And then she's like, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, well, I gotta tell you this other thing about yourself. Not just about your period, but there's a whole lineage of women who turn into red pandas, and they have to learn how to deal with it and suppress it at the end of the month. Which, yes, that is literally about periods. Think about monthly cycles. But this is also about puberty and growing up. And this is also about Chinese identity. So like there's a lot of things going on with this red panda. Surface level, it's about puberty. Second, it's about periods, about becoming a woman. Third, it's about understanding your emotions and not trying to lash out and like be cool. And fourth, I think like the deepest you can go in terms of what they mean. This red panda symbolizes their Chinese heritage and their culture. And because they immigrated to Canada, usually when you immigrate and your culture isn't the dominant one, you're kind of made fun of for it. People tease you, they don't understand it, they don't want to. So for May, it's a red panda, but for us, it's when you bring your ethnic food to school and it smells bad, so you go to the bathroom instead to eat it because you don't want to embarrass other people. It's when your mom loves you so much that she will do anything, even if it ends up embarrassing you. It's when people make fun of you because you have an accent and it's not perfect because you immigrated somewhere. So for anyone who is an immigrant, anyone who is Asian, like this is obviously something that resonates with us. And I instantly noticed it. Like I could tell they meant that just because it's common. It's something that you all go through. I can't tell you how many times I've been ashamed of having these features or just bringing dumplings to school just because I didn't want people to make fun of it. But usually you start to accept it as you find people who do accept you for that, May's friends, and as you mature. Because now I can look back on middle school and say, why was I such a bitch to my parents? Why did I not accept my culture as much? Because I regret that now. May is a 13-year-old will not understand that at the moment, so of course she's going to be upset about the red panda-ness. Also, while Ming is telling the story of like how Sung-yi wanted to become a red panda in the first place, which I still like wish they talked more about, I'm more interested in that story as well. I thought that animation was really cool because it was basically traditional Chinese art animated, and I would love to see a movie or like some film just like that. Give me traditional Asian art animated. And if you're still like, I think you're digging too deep, they also say that Sung-yi's blessing became an inconvenience. And that's literally what it became for us. Like, being Chinese was an inconvenience to me at the time. And this is something a lot of people can relate to. But for those who don't, you just you can't. And I think there's a little bit of a gap in this movie because there's a lot of criticism on like it being unrelatable. We can't really connect with May, and I'll get to that soon because I don't disagree. Someone on YouTube, I think his name is Shafarillas, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he made the point that he could relate to other people even if they were young Asian women, and referenced a Studio Ghibli movie, but for this one he couldn't. And I think it's because their way of storytelling is unique, obviously, but also I think Disney focused a lot on making the culture correct and not offending, and making sure everything is accurate and putting their effort into, because this is the director, by the way. I think she wanted to make sure that they did May right, and they very well did. Like everything about her family, the animation, like the story of this red panda is beautiful. Problem is though, I think they focused so much on that they didn't really give the other characters attention. Not saying all of them have to be main characters, but like it was hard to relate to, and this is the thing, I can't really remember the other people because I just watched it yesterday. I think the other friends in the group are Madrian, Abby, and Priya. These are the only things I got. Ming does not like Madrian for some reason. Abby speaks Korean and has a very big personality and is funny. And Priya is more chill, laid back, monotone voice, and like that's it. And they only referenced their family and a little bit about their family once when they said why they couldn't go to the concert, because they do want to go to a concert at 14, I forgot their name. They want to go to the boys' concert and they're like, my mom won't let me go until I'm 30 or something like that. And it's so unforgettable that it's just unnecessary. And the reason why you want to make these other characters more relatable is because if you can't relate to May, you usually go to another character to be like, oh, I can at least relate to you and I can see something of myself in you. But if it's not May, it's probably not the rest of their family, which they also put a lot of effort in. And it's probably not going to be these other characters because they got 10 lines in the movie and they don't have any backstory. So that's where this movie falls short for me, just a little bit, because I think it's just too short. I think they literally needed just more time. More time to develop the supporting characters, give them support literally, and more time in general to tell the stories of them. It would have been so cool to see their own scene. Every scene has May in it basically, so it would have been nice to just see some scenes of just Madrian and just Priya, like in their families. I would like to see their families and how it works. Because if this whole movie is about how your family interacts with you and about appreciating your family and just being able to converse with them, it would be nice to see other families as well. Not for a lot, just like one scene, if that makes sense. Like, I want to see an Indian family there. I want to see the white family. I want to see the Korean family. I also think it was cool that Abby just spoke Korean casually. That was really fun to see because she was just a very loud personality, and I like that a lot. Another thing, May's dad is like the more softer parent, which I actually think is true. Like, usually those dads don't really care what you do. They're just like, be normal, don't be stupid in the end. But he says red is a lucky color to May because she has red hair when she's not a red panda, and obviously like it's about culture, it's about being able to appreciate your background. Just a nice little touch. There were only 2 lines that were really direct references to this. It was the inconvenience one and this one, so it was nice they put that in. So May's friends invade her home and they sneak into her room and they're like, don't worry, we accept you, like we don't care, la la la, hug it out. And May's like, oh, when I'm with y'all I feel more comfortable. But she doesn't want to tell that to her parents because that would be saying, I like my friends more than you, which yeah, like that's what middle schoolers go through. Sorry parents, almost all of them don't like you, but they will eventually. And because May really wants to go to the concert, she tries to convince her parents by saying, I can stay calm, this is how. So she tries to prove it through tests. So the parents tell her embarrassing memories, and one that just I want to point out is when she says, when you got 2nd place in the spelling bee contest, because that literally happened to me. I'm just going to talk about it right now. It's totally not about the movie, but in 3rd grade I was trying to do this spelling bee contest and I was with my crush at the time, who was a girl. I'm not going to talk about it. Marissa, if you're out there, hey. But she was next to me and like we were the final 2 or something, or like we're almost done, and I got the word nugget. But the person who said it like nugget. And I was like, what the fuck is a nugget? And as a fool, I only said, could you repeat the word instead of could you use it in a sentence? So I spelled out K-N-U-C-K-E-T. And of course I was wrong. So I cried off the stage and ran away. So traumatic. I'm telling you, this shit happens. This literally happens in school. Her final test was a box of kittens, and she was able to overcome that. But even then, even after her presentation of why I should go to the concert, her mom says no. So May gets very upset. And then they try to make their own money because they realize like, oh, being a red panda is cool. Like, people don't hate me for it. And they capitalize off of it, as they should. And they're just young businesswomen making money by making merch and selling photos with the red panda. And it's just a montage of them having fun. People are like, wait, middle schoolers would only like her just because of something that is cool now? Like, yeah, that's literally what happens. You were not cool until something makes you cool about yourself. One little thing can make you popular. Middle schoolers are petty, emotional, and they don't really think too much about stuff. So like, yeah, a red panda's gonna do them in. And I just don't get like how adults don't understand that. Like, maybe when y'all went to middle school it was different, but like, this is just how it works, okay? That is how middle school culture works. It's how high school culture works, and that's gonna be set in stone. And I appreciate that Disney is telling this side of middle school and not Euphoria side of middle school. High school, basically the same thing at this point. We also see that Ming's mother is coming because she's like, why is this red panda on the news? You haven't been taking care of your daughter. I'm coming. And Ming is scared of her mother. We don't know why yet. But there's this badass scene of them walking in like Kardashian. Actually, I don't want to taint the aunties with the name Kardashian. But like, there's this badass scene of all the aunties walking in. And they have their bags. They have their eyeglasses on. And like, they just look badass. And basically May's family is going to be there to help her through this. All of the family is going to be there, which is not what May want. None of us want that. May is focused on a boy band concert only. She doesn't want you there. So she can't tell her that, obviously, so we're hiding it still. Fast forward, Tyler's a twat. I just wrote that in there. I think he did something stupid at some point. I think this is where they had the birthday party because Tyler said, I'll give you $200 if you go to my birthday party as a red panda. And that's the same night that aunties show up and tell her, you should never become this red panda. Hide it, because if you keep turning into it, it'll only latch onto you more and then you can't turn back, or like you can't get rid of it eventually. May's like, sorry, I want to go see the boys, so I'm gonna go. And then they have the party, but then she lashes out at Tyler because what? He's an idiot, and he's the perfect representation of someone who just doesn't care to understand someone else's culture and just says stupid things about it because she insulted May's mom at some point. So May attacks him, and then the parents find out and they're all like dramatic about it, so Ming shows up. But Ming, of course, doesn't see her daughter doing any wrong, so she blames her friends. But May is too scared to stand up for them because she doesn't want to disappoint her parents, so she just goes home with Ming and basically not really friends anymore at this point. They go to the concert and May is at home. She can't go to the concert because it's the same night as the ritual. So the ritual is just like getting rid of the panda. It's the same night as the blood moon, blah, blah, blah. And it's all Kung Fu Panda style. Like, there's a circle, May's in the circle, and everyone's chanting around her in Cantonese. And then she goes to this spiritual world where the pandas reside, and Sung Yi is there. And as much as she wants to get rid of the panda, she says, no, I'm keeping it. It made me popular. I like it. It helped me have fun with my friends. We had so much fun doing it. People like me now. Fuck you, mom. I'm keeping this panda. And while this is predictable, like, we obviously saw this coming. We know that Ming is going to turn into her panda at some point as well. We know that Ming is going to fix her relationship with her mom as well. I don't really care if something's predictable because not everything has to be a gag. And also, that just shows like you've watched a lot of movies so you can tell plot points. And if you don't enjoy something as much because you predicted it, then maybe stop thinking. But also I understand like people want to be surprised, but I don't really see Disney as surprising people. Also, when May decided to keep the panda, someone in the background says "Aya," which like I heard it, but it just made me happy because it's like you rarely hear that. That's like saying "oh no" basically in Chinese, and it's just you only hear it with your family. So it's just nice to hear it. But May goes to the concert as a red panda. She's jumping on roofs and stuff and no one's catching her. But Ming got so mad, she unleashed her own panda, which is like the size of Godzilla, to be safe, because she feels betrayed by her child. So they go to the concert. It's a little bit stupid, but like funny to see children running away because there's a big panda on the top of the stadium. But I will say, when May shows up and finds her friends, they make up and it lasts 2 seconds. Like, this is how it goes. You didn't defend us. I'm sorry. Well, me too. Like, what? Middle schoolers are petty. We hold grudges until I hold that grudge today. From middle school. Why are y'all making up so fast? I just don't understand like how that happened. That's when I felt like they were just appealing to younger people because it was just like such a fast friendship rebuilt. Like that's not what realistically happens. But usually in movies and shows appealing to kids, they kind of just like make the fights last 2 seconds and make up because it's all about friendship and like no, don't give me that. I want drama. So I didn't really appreciate that. And I also didn't like how Tyler's just there and they're like, You like 4chan too? Or not 4chan, oh my god. You like the boy group too? Why is he there? And why are they friends with him all of a sudden? Like, I don't get it. I don't know why he has to be there. Is that supposed to make me like him more? I still hate him. He was a jerk. He never apologized to May. So I wish there were just some more scenes interlaid between, like something to make us like Tyler more, or just either that, get rid of him, and something to help, you know, that friendship be rebuilt, not just a conversation. But after that, Ming shows up, destroys the stadium, and basically they have to fix Ming and get her to release the panda before it's too late. So all the aunties, Attack on Titan style, transform into their own pandas. Like, what is this Winx Club? What is this Sailor Moon transformation? I call it Attack on Titan PG version, but yeah, they all transform into their own pandas and basically help Ming stay in the circle while they chant and get her to the spiritual realm. And that's where all of them make up. And I will say, all of them look good with red hair, and I do want red hair to be more of a thing now. I didn't really have strong feelings about them making up. I think I'm kind of subdued now because before this, watched Given the anime and the movie. I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood all the way through. I watched all 4 movies of Evangelion again, and then I watched A Silent Voice right before. So if you know any of these, you know how fucked up I was before watching this. So like nothing made me sad anymore after that. But my friends cried in that scene, and it's like, yeah, I can see my mom in Ming, and it was nice to see them make up through the portal and just like understand each other, because I think that's what we all want with our parents. And if you don't have that yet, it's definitely hits deep, and I hope that happens for you. So it's just a nice conversation to have. Like, I think parents should watch this as well. They should definitely watch this. This is for everyone. Disney knows how to make a movie for everyone. What they don't know is how to stop donating to homophobic organizations. So the movie ends with May keeping the red panda still, and they turn it into a cash grab in their China temple, which, of course, I would do that. And it's a nice ending. It's very happy. This is just another element of like, May's the only Chinese Canadian, at least like, I'm assuming she's the only one who isn't an immigrant in her family. So her adopting this red panda and keeping it is basically forming her own identity, because we have to learn like Chinese versus Chinese American is different. Chinese American versus Chinese Canadian is unique, and these identities can coexist with each other, and they are all unique. We shouldn't compare them, just like how Chinese food versus Chinese American food are completely different. Yes, it's a shocker, I know, but May keeping the panda, I see that as like her saying, this is me, I am Chinese Canadian, and I am not a Chinese immigrant. We are different, and you should respect me just like I respect you, Mom. And also, to everyone outside of it, this is saying, you should respect us. So overall, I really like the movie. I have, no big problems with it. It's like, yeah, I wished it was a little bit longer. I wish the characters were a little bit more three-dimensional. Like, I think I can say that for a lot of Disney movies, though. And I also will say, recently, a lot of Disney movies have been misses for me. I haven't watched Encanto, so like maybe that'll change my whole mindset. But TikTok is hyping it way too much, so I think I'm getting too many high expectations. But like, apart from Soul, other movies have just been a little bit, yeah, it's okay. Like Eternals, meh. Onward, didn't watch, didn't really hear good reviews about it. Raya, didn't really see it. Luca, didn't see it either. And the ratings all show that they're not as good as other Disney movies pre-2020. So I'm not blaming COVID, but like, I think that really changed the way movies progress and how we show them now, because there's just not as much hype anymore. Like, I think COVID really ruined that. So I don't blame Disney, but I think that because they're releasing things like only on Disney Plus, it sort of tones down the hype for it. So stop making so many movies each year. Like, just a little bit slower, work more on the movies. Or I think Endgame / like Frozen 2 were like the last peaks. I don't really know, but I think that's when I felt there were peaks in life. Everyone was talking about it back then. Not everyone was talking about any of these movies anymore. I still love Soul though, but that's just me because I am a pianist and I am in New York City. So like, of course I'm going to be biased. Let me know if you want a review on Soul, because I have so many thoughts. I will say the characters kind of look stupid when they're in Soul form. So now I'm going to just go through some news articles and let you know more of my opinion on this. Some people say the topic of puberty is one that feel is too adult for a Pixar film. Oh, it is Pixar. Really? Oh my god. Okay, I did think it felt Pixar. First of all, what? Second of all, puberty is too big of a topic. They don't even talk about anything besides pads. Like, literally, it's just about pandas, and like, it's the topic of puberty behind that. Because Pixar always layers big topics behind like things that look more innocent and surface level because it is also marketed towards children. You think puberty is too adult, but you also let your children watch two people kissing and also people dying in movies. Like, what is it then? Really tell me. Like, shut up. Oh, there's a lot of 1-star ratings. I want to look at them. The pictures she drew in her notebook, those were just, I can't even explain them. And how she also referred to them as sexy and that laugh she had while drawing them under her bed. Is this appropriate, Disney? Is it? I don't really care, like, if something is appropriate anymore because, like, it's middle school. Like, that literally, did you not do that? If you're not, okay, fine. Good for you. Oh, you're such a goody two-shoes. It happens. Children will see themselves in them. You might not. It's not about you. It's about owning up to the awkwardness that is middle school and the emotions you go through. Do you know how horny middle schoolers are? Do y'all? Think really long and hard about you in middle school, okay? This movie teaches children to lie to their parents and keep secrets that are unnecessary to keep them from also sneaking out when their parents don't approve of anything. Please, if you are a kid reading this, do not do anything she does. Well, yeah, like, it teaches them to not do that because there are consequences, but also, that's gonna happen regardless of this movie. Movies don't make people do anything. It just gives them representation and lets them see themselves and teaches them it just teaches lessons. And this one also gives them the vocabulary to understand what their body is going through, especially for young women, 13-year-old girls, and other genders, obviously. Red Panda is first menstrual cycle, then becomes a generational curse, then represents toxic angel Yes. Just like how other things in movies represent one thing surface level and another thing and other things as you go deeper. I think because these are a lot of adults watching this, because obviously you need to be an adult to have Disney Plus, you need money to do the subscription. They're also watching this first probably before giving it to their children, knowing they're overbearing and they don't want to trust them with random movies and the internet. And before you get mad at that, y'all made the internet. We're just using it. So be mad at your own generation. Same thing with social media. Anyways, it's either parents don't want to admit they're overbearing and they don't want to admit they're false because I am a parent. When am I wrong? It's always the children that are wrong. Or it's just they don't understand how to talk to their child because that happens most of the time. If you think your child is going to do the things that May does, maybe you should think about how you parent them in the first place. Because I can tell you, a healthy environment for a child will only produce healthy lives. Who cares if they go out and do stupid stuff every once in a while? That is called living and being independent too. Lying, you didn't? Going out at night without did you not? Did you never wish to? You never had the longing to do so? Like, I think parents, when they have a child, they just forget anything that happened to them in middle school and they're like, none of that I can understand. I can only understand good parenting skills and raising my child to be its best. But they're also not a machine. And because you do that, you disconnect yourself from your child. If your mindset is, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, that's only going to create that barrier that makes them want to distance themselves from you even more. It's not about feeding your child and pushing them to get good grades. It's about letting them feel comfortable enough to express themselves and breathe. Because if they don't do that, they're going to do it elsewhere. These feelings are going to happen naturally. Their horniness, the wanting to go out, be with their friends instead of you, that all happens naturally. So if you don't know how to navigate that, it's only gonna go up from here. So that's my message to the parents. But to the middle schoolers and high schoolers out there, I don't blame y'all for having these, like, obviously I'm never gonna do that. But just, if you're someone who doesn't really appreciate your culture or feels so embarrassed by your parents, it's gonna take a while, but like, you have to understand they are there to care for you. And I'd personally rather have a parent that cares too much than never at all. Yes, they embarrass you at times. You embarrass them too, honey. You're gonna fight with them. You're going to want to hate them forever and wish you never had parents or had different parents like your friends' parents. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who raised you from the beginning and they give you this home. And this is excluding abusive parents, by the way. Like, I'm just talking about generally. Try to appreciate them and also don't be ashamed of your identity because none of y'all should. And at the end of the day, just watch the movie and just enjoy it, serve it. Like, I am tired of people like over analyzing and being so, I mean, I do that, but like just being so critical of movies. I have finished every movie and TV show I've ever started, and I am not so pissed off that's like I can't finish it, it's so bad. Who do you think you are? Are you a director? Have you made a famous film? Like, get out. That's all I have for Turning Red though. Overall, I love this movie and the director did an amazing job for their first time, especially their first time. I love the casting. I definitely watch it again with my friends. So if y'all enjoyed, give this video a like, leave a comment down below about what you think I should review next and what are your thoughts about what I said. have an honest conversation always. If you disagree with one of my points, let me have it, okay? If you want to add something else, let us have it. You can die on any hill you want. And subscribe for more videos every week. I try to post every Saturday, and I love you all, and everything is less than 3. I'm gonna go dye my hair now. Bye!